everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I've got my wonderful virtual hugging friends with me today. Thank you, Marky. Thank you, Carrie, and thank you, Jay, for joining us. We're here talking about the benefits of digital signatures in your business, whether you're in the real estate business or just a small business that you're getting started. And we're here to share with you the knowledge that we have about how to use digital signatures in your business. My name is Desiree Savory. I'm a technology and accountability coach, and I work primarily in the real estate business and also working with those that are starting in small business. Hi there, Carrie.
Hey, Desiree. I'm so excited to be here. I am also in the real estate industry here in Illinois, western suburbs. I am a digital marketing strategist, and I happen to be a certified DocuSign instructor.
Yay, love it. And Jay, thank you for joining us. I know that you had to get away from an event, so thank you for being here. Tell us who you are today.
Well, thank you. Well, just today I'll decide who I am. So today, I'm a mortgage broker and an attorney in the real estate field in Austin, Texas. But today I'm coming to you from a men's retreat in Winter Park, Colorado. There's about 30 men up here getting away and just talking men's business and supporting each other in daily life and trying to encourage one another so that we are better husbands and better fathers and better employers and better employees when we get back into the real world. So we're checking out a little bit so we can check back in.
I love it. That's a great example for me. I'll tell you that. Hey there, Marky, darling.
Hey, how are you today?
Great.
My name is Marky Lemons Rao. I am a social media speaker. I come from the world of real estate as a licensed managing broker here in the state of Illinois.
Awesome. I'm honored to know everyone here today. And I actually I'm not a realtor for those of you who are here with us. Let me just bring that out front. I just teach a lot of the technology world because I've been teaching real estate now for 16 years. It's real estate technology for 16 years, but I'm not a realtor. I'm a certified zip form teacher, but not a realtor. And today we're talking about digital signatures and the importance of using that in your business. Today, let me tell you what happened. I had a client call me that had never sent a digital signature transaction to anyone before, and he needed to get it off in 10 minutes. And he was shaking. I could tell that he was literally shaking on the other side of the phone. And I said to him, I can't believe that you've been in business for this long and never been to at least one of my classes. I've asked you over and over. He says, I know. Just tell me, what do I do? They're insisting. Now the client is insisting that they want it in digital signature. So why are the providers, we're talking about vendors or realtors, not prepared in today's world to be proactive to provide that service? Why are we not seeing it as a necessity until it hits us in the face? All of a sudden, now it's important. Wet signatures are important because you think, okay, right now, I don't see the reason why I need it until it hits you in the face and somebody says, well, I'm on my phone. Can you just send it to me? I don't have time to be going home or, sit down in front of a computer or coming to your office to sign. Can you just send it to me? And all of a sudden he says, well, I told her I'd call her right back. I needed to get something, but I'm calling you. Luckily you answered the phone.
You're right. That's interesting.
What do you think of that, Carrie?
It's because they didn't have to. People will keep doing it the way they've been used to doing it until they're challenged. But the negative is that the next generation, the millennials, they're the early adopters. And if you're not an early adopter, you're going to be replaced. So I've been using e-signatures since 2011. Mm-hmm. And every time I get into a room with real estate agents, they're like, why, Carrie? I don't need it. I'll just get in the car and I'll drive. And it's just faster for me.
Right.
Until they need it. So I just think they're going to continue to do it this way because their clientele doesn't ask for it.
Well, I'm wondering if we're not looking at it in another way. What do you think, Marky and Jay, from the concept of realtors might not realize that real estate, their clients are coming not only from just a stretch of the hand, but from a plane distance, you know? And the contracts are not necessarily going to be just around the corner. Things can be signed just as fast, whether they're next door or in another time zone, that quickly.
Well, let me tell you, Marky. I'm gonna jump in real quick because I just got a little bit because I know yours is gonna be good. But I tell you, on the financial side, what I've seen is that on the financial side, it is completely beneficial to have electronic signatures because there's so much going back and forth. There is so much of the mortgage, the lending business that you can go back and forth. And if you're doing it electronically, it saves so much time and it's so beneficial, not only to me, but to the client, because the client is getting so many documents together. What is their biggest complaint when they're buying property? I've got to get all this stuff together. Well, you know what? When they can get it all together electronically and then I can send them documents and they can sign them, I tell you, it's wonderful. Now, here is what I'm adjusting to. I'm on my mortgage company's back about making sure that people can sign their documents, electronically sign their documents on their iPhones and their Androids, because this is where the last 3 loans I've done where they want to sign everything. They pulled it up and they said, well, I can't sign. And we're working on getting that technology in place so they can sign all their documents on their phone. But that's where the market is.
That's correct.
Literally the last 3 people wanted to sign on their phones.
Exactly. And you know, that's like Justin just said. Was it Justin that said it? Yeah, Justin
light,
said that history tracking is very, very important. It's a very important part of it. I call it the Judge Judy effect. Who wants to stand in front of Judge Judy? I don't. I wouldn't want to stand in front of Judge Judy wondering if I had all my paperwork. But you know, when you have digital signature tracking and all those numbers going on with every transaction, you know you're protected. You know that you're protected.
All right, I want to hear what Marky wanted to say.
Yeah.
I posted this as actually my Facebook banner right now. Technology will never replace a realtor, but a realtor with technology will replace a realtor without technology.
I like that.
Ooh, I like that.
It's amazing to me, but change, and I always reference this story. A couple of stores that maybe you've heard of, A&P and Border Books. Border Books was a multi-billion-dollar business, and they understood that they had to adapt to online books, okay? However, they were slow to adapt, which is why we now no longer have a Border Books.
Yeah.
When I look at my children, I have a keynote that I do called "It's Not You, It's New." And what I compare that to is when we went to college and how you had to let your mom and daddy know you needed your money 7 days in advance before you ran out of money because they was going to have to either go to Western, go to the bank, get money, take it to Western Union. You had to figure out how to get to town to get the money, all of that. My son will go to Chipotle. Well, not since the scare. He would go to Chipotle with $3.37 in his account. He would place an order for $12 worth of food. He would text me and anticipate that the money is to be in his account by the time he makes it to the cash register. Now, we would have starved to death.
Yes.
It would have been 7 days later. They would have found our skeleton on the side of the road, right?
We were making grilled cheese sandwiches with irons. What?
That's right. That's right.
Baby, better yet, he might not have any cheese. You go put that butter, get the butter packet out the calf, get you some toast.
That's right. That is so true.
The greatest blessing I've received in real estate was reading the 2005 profile of buyers and sellers.
That's right.
That book changed my life. When I saw that in 1995, 2% of buyers were utilizing the internet, and in 2005, that number was 80%. That one little line changed my life.
Exactly. Exactly. Because, it's almost scary that so many buyers and sellers and investors are doing the research, then coming to the agent and testing the agent to see. They use that as a way to figure out which agent they want to work with, So one of the key things that I tell agents to do is, as part of their packages, when they're going to do when they have that first initial conversation, Marky and Carrie and Jay, what they can do with some of the marketing concept is create some type of, because realtors are teachers, regardless. If they don't think they're a teacher, they're wrong. They have to prepare the investor to get into the process. And how do you do that? If you're going to be using DocuSign, for example, or you're going to be using, ZipForm or any other type of digital signature process, give them an idea as to what it is they're going to be using. Explain to them what the process is going to look like. Give them screen prints. Tell them you're going to have a password and user ID. You need to learn what that is. And also, provide them, if you want to invest in a marketing strategy, by giving them some kind of a book that they can use to facilitate all that information. And so if they had something like a hardcover with your picture on it, with your logo on the front, and inside that little book, it had all the spaces for them to write all that information in, they'd never get rid of that. They'd be able to add even personal information in that book with the other types of real estate related data that they have to quickly go back to and use. So you have to be a teacher too. You have to prepare those investors, whether they're buying, selling, or investing, to know what to expect and make the process a lot more smoother. And try it out yourself. In other words, go in and send yourself a transaction and experience it. Don't expect that you have to wait until the last minute and figure it out. Do it yourself so that you know and feel it. Feel what that digital signature process is like, so that you can answer questions if they call you. If you don't do that, or if you're afraid of it, then yeah, you're going to end up in a situation like what I had today with my client.
I always encourage agents, and even when I sit with buyers and sellers, digital signatures are a part of the process, the first initial meeting.
Yeah.
Their online filing cabinet, and I get to learn how they work. So
yes,
if I get a pushback and they really don't want to use e-signatures, then I get it. But there is nothing like getting a phone call. And I had a scenario. I was a co-list, and I was the co-list because I lived 10 minutes from the city that the other agent was going to work in. And we had 3 offers. We finally had the deal done, and I got the call, Carrie, can you run over? The husband has 15 minutes to sign the contract. So he has a 15-minute window. And I was like, no, I can't run over. But let me tell you what I can do. I sent them both a text message, and I said, I can send both of you the documents. You can sign them on your smartphone. They were like, oh my gosh, you saved my life.
Exactly.
I think they were probably maybe 10 years younger than me. And the other agent didn't even see the value. And she was using Evernote to list the property, but she wasn't using e-signatures. So she had everything in a notebook, except she didn't explain the e-signatures. And it has changed the way she does business.
Oh my goodness. Goodness.
Yeah, 50. I could have driven over. I wouldn't have made it in time. The husband was very busy. He loved it. The entire transaction was all electronic.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And so the tracking of it is there. You've got the tracking. So some of the things, what about the cost of doing digital signatures? The postal courier service, you don't have to worry about any of that stuff, right? That's some of the stuff that we were talking about. You don't have to worry about, anybody seeing documentation before it actually gets to the next person. There's no imposter looking over the documents. It's sitting on a filing cabinet or somewhere for somebody to see it before the other person is looking at it. It's going from one unique email address to another email address to be signed. And you
But that's a whole nother conversation, because how many agents actually have their title folders sitting on their desk and they go home every night
exactly, exactly.
and nobody's looking?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Justin, not me.
Just
Yes.
right?
Good.
Not me either. They're all in my filing cabinet online.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
And
You
the
know,
other,
same thing. I mean, think about what I have. I mean, not just real estate stuff. I've got social security numbers. I mean, I've got financial stuff. We can't leave that stuff on our desks. All of that stuff has to be, and it's so much easier when we have it all electronically because it is locked away. It's all password protected. It's all encrypted. It's all somewhere safe. So you don't have to worry about, having that folder, having that paperwork, and making sure it gets locked up, and making sure all of your employees lock it up if they have the file out.
Exactly. Exactly.
I like she said, I don't use paper at all with listings or buyers. Just sent a document to a buyer right before this call from my phone.
I
She
love
says,
it.
see?
Exactly. Integrated. All integrated. Exactly. Yep. That's the way to go. I call that the Judge Judy effect. You just don't have to worry about it. You got all those digital numbers all working together. That's right.
Hey, ladies, I'm going to jump out here for a minute. I've got to go take care of some stuff. And
Yeah.
that also free up a seat in case somebody wants to come in.
Absolutely.
But I love this. I love you guys, and I am
Thank you, Jay, for
excited to be a
taking
part
the
of
time.
it. And I will see you guys very soon.
You're a
Uh-oh,
perfect
we lost
Thank
Desiree
example.
for a second.
Enjoy yourself.
Thank you so much. Thank you for being here, Jay.
All right. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Refresh your screen, Desiree. So, while Desi is trying to jump back in, Justin, where are you? Greg, we know you like to jump. Oh, that's right. You're in your car. You can't jump in. So some other tips about electronic signatures. What's great is not only can you sign from everywhere, but you get a legible copy. You comply with license law, because as soon as the document is complete, depending on how you set it up, your clients receive a copy, your office staff can receive a copy. You can set it up to go into your filing cabinet. If you're someone that uses Evernote, Mark, you can appreciate this. You can use your notebook folder, and as soon as it's signed with DocuSign, .loop, whatever product you're using, you can automatically create that folder, and it's in one place. And you can actually share the folder with your client if you wanted to, which is great. Our MLS here in Illinois has a transaction management tool. So I actually store all of my documents there. And that's just because I can find them everywhere. I also use DocuSign transaction rooms, and I know Justin uses .loop. He says, I don't have a copy to get them a copy when they lose or forget they need a doc. Right. I used to keep, Marky, I used to have this really cute bin in the trunk of my car. I got it from Steinmart. And I used to have all of the title folders set up in order. I had every document you could possibly think of. And, I just got sick of carrying it around. And in 2011, when I went to DocuSign, it just saved how I worked. The other great thing was, hey, Marky, when you started in real estate, did you ever travel and make copies of your documents so you could work when you were out of the area? I used to copy documents, put them in the front of my suitcase. So when I would get to wherever I was going, I would have the copies, because it would cost a lot of money on a fax. So if I was at a hotel, it would cost me more money. The other thing was, I was at Disney World a couple years ago, and from my phone, I had an attorney call me and say, hey, Carrie, I need this document. Can you fax it? Now, I didn't really want to fax it, but I had a tool or software. There's programs you can use, and I was able to fax all the documents right from my phone. So I could be paperless on vacation. I would truly like to go on vacation, but since I'm a real estate agent, and I know Sheena can agree, it doesn't always
Yes.
happen that way.
Vacation does not always happen like that, honey. Oh, no.
And when agents tell me, I'm just going to go with the pen, I have an agent right here in Elmhurst. When she told me she was in her 80s and she is using DocuSign for her clients that are moving to Florida, I was like, there's no excuse. We all have the ability to take advantage of the tools. And just like Desiree said, don't wait until the last minute to learn it. DocuSign will train you. There are .loop trainers. I know Justin trains it. There's videos. There's YouTube. Desiree just trained me on zip forms, and I showed her how DocuSign works. And NAR just invested in zip forms, so it's coming to our areas. So welcome back, Desi.
I don't know. I apologize.
That's all right. We got it. We made sure you were covered. Here comes Greg. So excited. Justin said, I had an agent that wanted to drive 50 miles one way to get wet signatures for a contract. I said, okay, but I have a solution for you when you're ready. How's it going, Greg? Happy New Year.
Great. Happy New Year to you. I'm just hoping you can hear me okay.
Yes.
We can.
Perfectly.
Wonderful. It's so exciting to be here. It's lovely to see you. I'm really enjoying this conversation about digital signatures. I sign a lot of people up internationally, and there's many countries now where the signature process is accepted as in law. And so real estate in my country, in New Zealand, has been slow to transition. But which is why I'm really interested to hear about the fact, Carrie, that you carry the paperwork on a mobile form and people sign as they go. It really excites me. Yeah, because at the moment, if I'm signing somebody in Australia, we have to email the document. They have to physically print it, sign it, send it back. So we're slightly behind, but I'm loving the conversation. Thanks for having me.
You know, and even when I was at the National Convention, I went to one of the global events, and some countries are accepting them. One day I'll sit down and try to figure out who, but even Jamaica, they're in the NAR MLS or search for realtor.com, but they're not yet accepting digital signatures. But just come over here and sell, Greg. Every state, you can use e-signatures in all 50 states. Now, 3 of our states have a different act, which is Illinois, Washington, and New York, but you can use e-signatures in all 50 states.
Yeah, I had a look on Adobe, the Adobe website, and they've got a good list on there. I'm sorry I can't give you the URL because I can't quite remember exactly which one leads to the list. But
I got to go look. You said Adobe?
Yeah, but without sounding like, without giving away my age, I still think of the Western countries, and most of the Western countries accept it. That's Europe, the United Kingdom, North America, Australia, New Zealand, and so forth. So there's a really good amount that do. And the only reason that's of relevance to me is because just from time to time, dealing with buyers or sellers internationally, this is a great and very easy step forward.
Yes, it definitely is. You know, one of the things that I've been showing people to do now let me tell you, what would you call it in Carrie when you have one section within the digital signature platform on DocuSign where you strictly send the documents for the digital signature, and then there's another part of the platform where you can send the documents for the recipient to go out and actually fill out portions of the form.
You could do that in DocuSign. You can set it up that way. You can actually, in DocuSign, you can just send the document and they can just fill out the whole document themselves, because you can give them the power to drag and drop and add text and sign. Okay. So you can just give them the power, or I can set it up and give you the power.
Okay, so in zip forms, there are 2 different areas for that. One is a collaboration tool, and a separate part of that is the digital signature tool. So they're total separate interactions with the recipient, the buyer seller. So what I've been showing them how to do when they're sending out their documents for digital signature, or whether is, has the option for them to only view the documents, to sign the documents in the collaboration tool. They can either view them or fill out the form. They can't sign it. So digital signature is an isolated process altogether. So what I've been showing the clients, my clients to do, is when they create their templates, like for example, a listing template, is to add in maybe with just a 1-page PDF document that just introduces them to the process. So that's part of the template. So when they're sending documents to them, that one document is something they could print off and use as a source. So it's not something they're going to sign. It's just something that they'll have when you're sending documents to them to review, or it's just something for them to read because there's a read file, acknowledgement that you can slide on top of a document for no digital signature. It's just you slide.
Now we can do that in
and they can
DocuSign.
acknowledge
Yes.
it. Yeah. So you can
now,
even
and
use
I
it as
will
a marketing tool too. From that sense, like you have something you just want to send to them to look at for them to read.
And I was going to say what's typically with my clients now, the next generation, they just want it, just send it and give it to us. But when I have someone just give it to me. There are some clients where, and I like that new Appear, Desiree. It's helped greatly because I can actually share my screen.
Okay.
But what I've been doing is I will email my clients the document, and then we actually talk about, I go over the entire contract, and then in a few minutes, I send it to them in DocuSign. So it's already set up because in DocuSign, the system works very quickly and you just click and then you can sign the contract in 60 seconds. Now, with all of these platforms, at least in the US, you must have an acknowledgement when you sign electronically. So you must agree to sign. Now, of course, we know no one's reading it. But so
that's why I love that. Because if you have to go in front of Judge Judy, you got something.
Right. And because even in the state of Illinois, sorry, go out. So this is what happens when you have teenagers that bother my dog. Go out, Jonathan. Now he made me lose my train of thought. So anyway, when it comes to the acknowledgement, I usually have a conversation. I tell them how it works. They must agree, so it will hold up in a court of law because in the state of Illinois, you must have a certification. So e-signatures can be a great way to stay safe. And yes, the Judge Judy thing, zip forms, I know dotloop and DocuSign have the certification.
Exactly. They can print that out. Down here, there's some lending institutions and so forth that need that to go along. Isn't that right, Marky? You guys have that up there where
yes,
you
have to send it
off. All the digital signature numbers and everything needs to be printed off and accompanied with documents and so forth.
Yes, you have to have a key. And some companies that have invested for all of their agents, you can actually flip a switch in your settings. So every time you receive all of the documents in email, your clients get it and you can get it and your company gets it. So in my situation, every time I set up e-signatures, you automatically get the certification. So when I forward it to the lender, because we use attorneys here in Illinois.
Oh, okay.
They get everything.
I see. So here in zip forms too, if you want to have DocuSign as part of the platform, you can actually enable it before you start the digital signature process. You can flip into DocuSign or you can flip into ZipLogix Digital Ink. And so if you want to use DocuSign,
Okay.
And it's embedded inside ZipLogix or in ZipForm Plus.
And with DocuSign transaction rooms, you can zip forms can be added. So so you can go either way, I think now.
Right. So that's a really good thing because sometimes an agent decides that they want to use DocuSign rather than ZipForm Plus or ZipLogix. They can go from one to the next. I tell you the favorite feature that I find people just doing loops over is the idea of being able now, because DocuSign already had it, is in ZipLogix, being able to have the editable feature for leases. Being able to have those lease applications being filled out without having to send it as just a PDF document. And so these applications can be filled out online or even on their phones.
I'm just writing that down.
Yeah. So send that document off. They can fill the applications out online, and it saves right inside your transaction management system without you having to import it or anything. It's right there live on the cloud. You just open up the same file, and it shows in red the areas that have changed. So it's really nice to have that.
And I don't, DocuSign transaction rooms doesn't work exactly the same. With DocuSign, the separate platform, the documents stay, and you can actually go in, you can negotiate the entire contract similar to zip forms, but your clients don't have to have a login and password to sign. So that's the difference. But with DocuSign transaction rooms, they must create an account, and you can use DocuSign within the platform. And if you're going to use zip forms, you can choose to download the forms, because what I would like to see the zip forms, because they're already tagged.
Yeah, they're already tagged. Everything's tagged in there. I will just get down there this week. I'll show it to you. It's everything's already tagged in the system for you in zip forms.
I'm going to free up a seat in case anybody has any questions
We have about
for you,
6
but I'll keep listening.
But thank you so much, Greg. I appreciate it. It's a pleasure.
You're welcome.
And Greg, I found that link, so I shared it. So if anyone was interested, I shared the PDF. Marky, you might like that one, on where e-signatures are accepted. So this has just been added to my e-signature class on Wednesday.
Oh, really? Okay, that's cool.
Oh, really? Wait, what? Say that again?
This will just be added to my class on Wednesday. This one coming up.
Justin said this is very similar to Dotloop also.
Yes.
The process.
Because Dotloop has Dotloop is like zip forms, except it's very drag and drop. The functionality is really kind of cool.
Right.
I do like it. When you learn something first, it's hard to change.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Greg. We do appreciate that. Thank you very, very much. I hope you'll be able to get some of this technology soon. But come over here to Texas. We'll take you. You might not be from Texas, but you're not too late. So anybody else want to jump in and ask any questions of Marky, Carrie, or myself? We only have about 5 more minutes, because we're definitely going to end on time today to respect everybody's time. Want to go ahead and jump
Now,
in?
Today what I did a little different, because I teach a class turning your mobile device into your mobile office. I actually went back into Evernote and I created the table of content for the whole class, where everything hyperlinks to a different form that one would use, and each form is on its own standalone note. And I found that to be pretty effective. And then when you add that with if this then that, have you ever used the PowerBot?
PowerBot. No.
What's the PowerBot?
The PowerBot is an add-on to like Evernote, OneNote, that lets it talk with other third-party sites.
Yeah, yes. Yes, I know of it, but I've never used it. I'm an IFTTT user like crazy. So.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Okay.
Is it the powerbot.org? Is that the website?
Let me go check it
I
out.
just Googled it. It says the world's most power runscape. I don't know what this is. Nope. This is not that. Hold on.
Oh yeah, that wouldn't be it. Not Auto Fighter, Auto Clicker,
I think they actually feature the one you're talking about on Evernote. I think Evernote has it listed somewhere under their apps.
PowerBot apps is what it's called. PowerBot apps.
Oh, yep. PowerBot apps. Found it. Okay. I'll paste that one. Nice. Something else to learn. Marky, my head, you're like the hose too for us.
That's right. Oh,
we got to get this money. You know that tuition bill. Every time I think, all I think about is work harder, girl. Okay, work harder.
One quick call before we get out of here. Let me see who's. If you have a question.
Umka?
Yeah,
is it Umka?
Yeah, it looks like
Umkarsha.
Okay, can't see him.
Can't see him.
This is
Hi,
this question is regarding real estate. Usually when I'm with a client and sometimes I get this itch in my rectum and I can't get the itch out.
Why? Okay. All right. So
I mean, are people bored?
They must be.
Yeah.
They must be. They must be bored.
You lock that seat, right? Lock that seat down.
I'm about to block. You can block.
Never accept the egg. You right about that.
Yeah, we won't do that ever again. If I can't see you, you can't come in. So just know, if that ever happens, you could actually click on that person, and then in the top right-hand corner, you can click on the triangle and block them permanently. Something told me. Something
I don't
told me
know
that was
why.
going
Yeah,
to
it
be
was a
bad.
little too long. That was a long delay.
Yeah, I don't know why I didn't trust my instinct there for a minute.
It was the egg.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Disgusting.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So why don't you, Desiree, give your final tips and then
Yeah,
yeah.
so basically what I think would be the best thing for all realtors to do and all small business owners to do is the first time you get into digital signatures is to make yourself a client and send the documentations to yourself, try the process and experience it. You need to experience that process yourself in order for you to teach your clients how to go through it. You need to be able to visualize it because you don't need to be in front of that computer. When they ask you a question, you need to say, okay, remember, look over to the top left, look over to the top right. Be able to experience it yourself so that you feel comfortable and they know that you're comfortable with that process. Carrie?
My tips would be definitely experience it yourself. Find out what's integrated with your current MLS. Talk to your brokers and find out what they're willing to contribute. Ask your brokers to call if it's Zip Forms, if it's DocuSign, if it's .loop, negotiate a great price because they will negotiate with you. Some of your companies might offer it and you might not know it. And just know in the U.S., e-signatures are legal in all 50 states. If you're bored, you can Google the acts just to see what they are. And they've been around since the 90s. We just haven't really used them. Your clients agree just by they read the terms and they can sign, and it will hold up in a court of law. If you ever have a scenario where your clients don't want to sign electronically, you just, you give your client what they want. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, HomePath and HomeSteps will accept electronic signatures. If you're going to go that route, just make sure your clients understand that they will always have to start. If they start with e-signatures, they must stick with e-signatures for the duration of the deal. If they start with a pen, they must stick with the pen for the duration of the deal. You can't go back and forth. It's either electronic signatures all the way or a pen. If you are writing an offer on a short sale, banks will accept the electronic signatures. It's okay to talk to the negotiator. If the negotiator says, no, we don't accept them, respectfully say, we do, all 50 states accept electronic signatures. If they give you pushback, you give them what they want because your goal is to get the deal done. HUD will not accept electronic signatures. So if you're writing an offer on a HUD home, you got to go with the good old pen.
Thank you so much, Carrie. Marky, my darling.
First of all, Carrie is the guru on all things DocuSign. And I'm just going to tell a quick story before we hop off. I was taping for Guaranteed Rates in California, and they asked me a DocuSign question, and what did I do?
She came in the hallway and got me.
I came and got Carrie, and Carrie came in and filmed that session. And so, let me say this. I use it. I believe in it. I'm just not the guru of it. You have the guru here, and that would be Carrie Little.
All right. I love it. Well, we want to thank everyone for coming on today. We've got some wonderful real estate consultants here, real estate coaches. Jay, thank you for being here and joining us today. Thank you so much for taking the time out. You're a great example for what some of us need to be doing, is spending a little time to get our personal lives together so we can be fully rounded. We're going to go ahead and end today, and we'll be back with another real estate session for all of you. If you have any suggestions, join us on Twitter. We're all here. Join us on Twitter. Send us some ideas of what you'd like us to talk about. We're here to answer those questions, and we look forward to seeing you again. And believe me, I am honored to be in the company of these wonderful souls. So God bless you guys. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you. God bless you. Everybody have a good evening.
God bless
Good
you all.
evening.
Good evening.